Hey folks, Mav's Dad here back with another watch review. I really do have something super special for you today, and I bet you're wondering what this huge Citizen watch box is doing, filling up almost the whole frame of the video. That should tell you something right there. This is the Citizen EcoDrive F100 Satellite Wave Air GPS watch, model number CC2006-53E. Now before we get into it, I want to thank the good folks over at Duty Free Island for this review unit. Over at Duty Free Island, you get duty-free, tax-free, and free worldwide shipping. I've never ever had a problem with them. They sell 100%, only 100% authentic Citizen, Casio, Seiko, and Orient watches. Great bunch of folks. Definitely give them a shout and for your next watch purchase. Really, really good people. All right, so what we'll do is we'll open this thing up, look at the fit and finish, the features and the functions, and I'll give you my overall impressions of this really, really special and kind of rare watch. You don't see too many of them out there. There weren't that many made, and they're kind of a rare watch. So here you go. This watch case is the biggest I've ever seen on a review. This thing is huge. Let's go ahead and take this thing out. And it's heavy. There you go. And then you have another box inside. And this box is made out of wood. I'm assuming it's probably some sort of pressed particle board or something, but it's extremely heavy. Like I said, the absolute biggest watch case I've ever seen. And before we do that, let me bring this back. This right here, this is where you have your manual and stuff. This little compartment. Get your manual and your warranty card down there. So there you go. I've seen some big watch boxes, but good Lord, this thing is huge. All right. There you go. There's the F100. When I first laid my eyes on this thing and held it, I couldn't believe it. And I'll tell you why here in a second. So what we'll do as usual, we'll go ahead and put all the specs on the left-hand side of the screen, and then we'll go more in depth with the watch. You're looking at a 45mm titanium case, a 20mm titanium bracelet. It is 12 millimeters thick. It's 100 meters water resistant, which is 330 feet. You have a sapphire crystal. In a watch in this price range, I would definitely expect a sapphire crystal. It has a non-screw down crown, and this crown does serve a function, but you can see that it's not knurled, because with this watch, you really don't even ever have to use the crown. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later as well. It's got an F100 movement in it. It's satellite timekeeping, so basically this communicates with GPS satellites to get the time. Now this does not get your GPS location. There's a newer model of this watch that actually does that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this gives you the time, but you have to manually set your own GPS location. If you look around the bezel here, you'll see all the different names like NYC, which is New York City, Rio de Janeiro, and all these different time zones around the world. On this particular watch, you have to set that manually, but there's a newer model that does it for you automatically, and like I said, I'll talk more about that later. It does have a perpetual calendar until the year 2100. It has a date function, a very legible, nice legible date function over here at 3 o'clock. It's got a day and power reserve indicator over here at 7:30. It's got a daylight savings time function, and you can actually see that right there. It'll say SMT down there. It has a 2-year power reserve, so I wouldn't have to charge this watch for 2 years, and it would run continuously. And it has a 7-year power save mode, so if it doesn't get any light, like say you put it in a drawer, it'll shut down all the hands. It'll go into power save mode. It'll keep time internally for 7 years, and then when it sees light again, it'll basically boot back up. It's just amazing, amazing technology. It's got an insufficient charge warning, overcharge prevention function, and it's made in Japan. So there you go. Excuse me. First impressions, what a fantastic looking watch. I love this style, kind of like an 80s, kind of retro / futuristic. This is a very original Citizen design, and I want to applaud them for that. A lot of time watchmakers will kind of borrow from each other, much like auto manufacturers, car makers. They'll borrow a little bit here and there from each other, but this is a absolute authentic Citizen watch design, and it is incredibly light. Good grief. I mean, this thing just oozes build quality. I mean, you can see the hollowed out pushers here. Everything is in you know, titanium. Kind of the hidden clasp back here, you can see. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautifully built watch. I mean, I just love holding it. I'm having a handgasm. I just love this watch. It's just beautiful. Obviously, extremely legible. The dial and face has a very 3D look to it, and you can see that those indexes are actually raised off the surface, and there's multiple different levels to this watch. I just love this thing. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the specs and features. Then I'll talk a little bit more about my impressions. Like I said, this does not get GPS location. The newer model, the 2015 model, has the F150 movement, and that does it. And that's model CC2004-51E, and I actually reviewed that about a month or two ago. This is the previous model, the 2014, with the F100 movement. Now, I like the looks of this watch better. I like the design of this better, but I like the movement in the F150 better. So, but still just an amazing, amazing timepiece. A couple things that I'm not crazy about is there's no lume on the indexes. There's only a little bit of lume on the end of the hour and minute hands. That's it. There's no lume anywhere else other than that part. So this thing is not going to light up at night, which, you know, is a little disappointing. You know, I want some lume, especially when you spend this much money for a watch. But, you know, you can't have everything. At least you can try. But anyway, so let's try this thing on. And it really does feel like you're wearing nothing on your wrist. I mean, you forget that it's on. There you go. And with all those different facets in the case and that 3D kind of style watch face, I mean, it really, really catches the light. Just a fantastic looking watch. There you go. And let's test this lume here real quick. And like I said, you're not going to be impressed, and I wasn't either. Now, newer models, the F150 and F900s, they have a lot of lume all over the indexes and hands. But this one doesn't for some reason. I'm not quite sure why they did that. Let's go ahead and kill the studio light. And let's charge this thing up with my trusty mag light. And we'll charge it up for, I don't know, 5 or 10 seconds. And that ought to give the lume plenty of time to charge up and light up here. But like I said, you're going to be totally underwhelmed when you see this. There you go. That's it. And, you know, on any other watch that has a lot of lume, especially like I always compare it to Seiko, everybody does. But this thing will just be lighting up the room. But you can, like I said, you can barely see the lume. And it's you know, it's fairly dark in here. But, you know, the lume, I mean, the watch basically just doesn't have any lume, unfortunately. So there you go. All right. Go ahead and turn the light back on here. So let's talk a little bit more about the dial. You have everything over here at 7:30. You obviously have your day and date. Your date's right here at 3. Your day is right there on the left-hand side of that sub-dial. Your power reserve indicators over here on the right-hand side. And then you have your daylight savings time, which in some parts of the world is called summertime. That's why it's abbreviated SMT right there. You have no receive and OK, so when you try to get a satellite signal, it'll either tell you it didn't or it did, which is OK, and then receive means it's actually in the process of receiving the signal. And it also has a light level indicator, so I'll go ahead and show you that. It'll show you the light level, and it'll show you the level, the current level of charge here down at 7:30. So let's go ahead and do that. So you see, it'll go from 1 to 6, so it barely has enough light from this studio light to charge it. But if you see down here, it's still got plenty of charge left in it. And then it goes back to regular time. And then if you hold the button over here at 4 o'clock, it'll first tell you if the last reception was successful, and then it'll try to go ahead and receive a satellite signal, which it won't be able to do because obviously I'm indoors. So it'll tell you no, and now it's pointing to receive, which is RX. And it's going to try to receive that signal, but obviously it can't because we're indoors. So, oh crap, it did. It just pointed to OK. And now it just updated the time. Holy crap, it's never done that before. It must know it's being taped. Pretty cool. Anyway, so that's, I mean, it's a pretty simple dial. Very, very legible, easy to understand the features and functions. And there you go. And if you notice, you probably can't see it, right down there next to the 6 index, it says Made in Japan. So let's look at the case back. It's obviously a snap case back. This watch is only waterproof to 100 meters, so it's not a diver by any means. But it gives you all the pertinent information. There's a sticker still on there, and I'm gonna keep that on there for a little while. So there you go. Just a very well finished and built watch. Cool, innovative, authentic design. And just a pleasure to hold in the hand. God, it's just really, really cool. Now, there are, like I said, there are newer movements that actually automatically get the GPS location and time signal. But this is, I believe, the second iteration of the satellite wave watches. And then the one I reviewed about a month ago, that's the third generation. That's got the F150 movement. And that does give you your GPS location and time signal automatically. And it updates itself automatically. This one does not do it automatically. You have to manually tell it to get a GPS signal, to get a satellite signal. So it's technically less advanced than the newer model, but I just think it's much better looking. Now they have the new F900, which is basically a chronograph version of this with the F900 movement, which also gives you satellite and location. And that's got the same case, same everything, but it's got the newer movement. So it really is a trade-off, really is a trade-off. Just a fantastic looking and feeling watch. And again, just absolutely oozes build quality. Now, if you don't need to, if you don't mind, obviously, telling it manually what part of the world you're in, that's fine. Some people don't need to have everything be automatic. And that's, that's obviously up to you. But I just prefer this design over the F150 design. I just think it's just a much better looking watch. Again, not as technically advanced, but a much better looking watch. So there you go, folks. If you like this video, please click on like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, please do so. I appreciate all those new subscribers. I'll put a little reminder of that in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed here. That's really about it. Talk a little bit more about the crown and the pushers. Again, these are hollowed out titanium pushers. And as you can see, the crown doesn't have any knurling on it because you really don't even need this. You can basically operate everything from the watch with these two pushers. So they didn't feel the need to put any texture on that crown right there. So there you go. All right, folks, that's been it. Again, this has been the Citizen EcoDrive F100 Satellite Wave Air GPS watch, model number CC2006-53E. Go out there and get one at Duty Free Island. Currently, they're about $830 at Duty Free Island. Again, Duty Free Island, you get free shipping, worldwide shipping, tax-free, and duty-free. So great bunch of folks over there. Go out and get yourself one if you want it. It's a really, really cool watch. Really, really cool watch. All right, folks, until the next review, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.